The whole thing is less than 30 megabytes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Duh. I mean, you can put it on a Pentium 2 with the old 250 meg hard drive and have plenty of space left
You
over.
could have put on anything.
Yep.
Very cool. Good stuff.
And honestly, I find it fun.
Slit ass.
Finding an old piece of hardware I got to blow a couple layers of dust off of and trying to load slit ads on it and find out, hey, it works.
I got to check that out.
Okay. This next one harkens back a little bit to Mr. Gadgets. Oh, real quick. Jonathan Nadeau on that television. Mr. Gadgets also called in to, I think it was Droid Nation. We had a audio editing faux pas. Mr. Gadget said he believes Jonathan is the best. I don't know if he said the best or one of the best open source free software advocates out there. I will wholeheartedly agree with him because Jonathan does a great job at being human, at understanding nothing is perfect. We have to aim for these things. We have to try these things. Sometimes we won't make it, but we got to try. Okay. Mr. Gadgets left us the message about the 4 freedoms. And if I don't create code, am I really doing my part kind of thing? Since I can't contribute to code, somebody tried to tell him, well, then you cannot do anything with the 4 freedoms. And, the guy was just total rubbish.
Yeah.
This article over at Open Source, it's basically how to teach undergrads how to become open source contributors without writing a bit of code, which harkens back to Mr. Gadgets. Here's somebody else at theopensource.com, which I think they should be a little bit more, I don't know, but they should know better than me, I'll say. And they basically agree with this article. There is a multitude of ways how you can contribute to free software and open source without writing any code, period, bar none.
Cool.
So if you want to know how can you help everybody out, help these software packages out, help this movement out, and you don't know how to write Perl, Python, Ruby, C++, any of that stuff, check out this article over at opensource.com. And you'll see there's actually many different ways to, including not limited to beta testing, bug testing, documentation, on and on and on and on.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of cool stuff to do.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, documentation, if there's anything you can do that will make someone want to come to your house and clean your garage out for you, mow your grass for you, buy you beer, it's doing documentation.
Yeah, making something easy for someone else to comprehend.
Yeah, because I go back to that thing. If I'm a code writer and I'm really deep into the code and deep into the back processes of an application, I'm probably not the best person to write documentation.
Right.
Because I'll say things that aren't clear that I think are abundantly clear.
Right.
And I'll put up there circumstances of how to use it that makes no sense to a brand new user.
Exactly. Very cool.
Okay. I definitely think so. I was happy when I found that article. Okay, the next one is useful commands for Linux normal users and admins. Okay. I will say you don't have to use the command line to use Linux, period. I've said that many times in the past. If you do know how to run commands, basically you can do anything on a computer that you can imagine. And in here, there's a couple of examples. How to compare a remote directory and a local directory. In Windows, I can't tell you any built-in way to compare two directories. Do these files match? Do these dates match? You can write batch files or command files or PowerShell things, but it's going to be multiples of lines. Multiples of lines. I should know. I've done it before. In Linux, however, it's just one command. It's the diff command, DIFF, which tells you the differences. And, as a programmer, even in Bash doing shell scripting, you can take this command diff, run it against two different directories, and then take the output of that and say, well, then let's copy these files over. So you only have to copy over the files you need to copy over. Huh. So it would literally be 2 lines. In Windows, it would be at bare minimum 8, 10 lines.
Wow.
Yeah. The other examples I'll just say is trace and view network traffic. Check if a machine is on reverse SSH. I'm not even going to try to explain what that is, but it's cool for an admin. Show mounted volumes in a table, what hard drives, CDs, networks are being mounted. The fastest way to kill a TCP or a UDP port, i.e., right now, you need to close port 3544, irregardless of the reason. Maybe there's some piece of malicious software attacking your server. It's literally one command, F user command, to kill that port to make it closed. You don't have to dive behind your computer and pull the network cable.
F user.
F user.
F that user.
Exactly. I didn't say it. The other commands are like how to go through your history. How do you extract audio from a flash video? And you see what that command is, right, Steve?
Oh, yeah. Love it. FFmpeg.
Yeah, I'll say maybe the most utilized and powerful application on Linux, bar none. FFmpeg. And there's a couple more there. If you like seeing the power of commands, even go check out this article at unixmen.com.
Very awesome.
I'll say I have it bookmarked. Absolutely. And I see Shannon coming into the chat. Thank you, Shannon. And super quick, because I know we don't say this enough and I don't want to oversay it. We stream live Tuesday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you just follow Podnutz on Twitter or on Google+, you'll get the notification. Come on, hang out.
Definitely. It's always a good time when you come out live.
Oh, yeah. I have a hard time paying attention to the chat room. And by hard time, I mean super hard time. I mean, I'm surprised that I can blink. I can wink both eyes at the same time kind of thing.
That's because you do most of the talking in this show.
That doesn't matter. Even
when I start talking, then you'll look over to the chat room.
No, because I have to listen to you. I don't want to pull a Steve D or, and not hear what you said.
Good man.
Thank you. I try. I try. Okay. This next link, another example. Okay. On Windows, to do some of those tasks that I mentioned, you either need a full-blown application to do, or you need to write really at least semi-complex scripts, where in the Linux world, they were just one command. Okay. This is kind of the same thing. This is how to use Linux as a automation host. Now, the two most important words is automation host. And it really isn't automation the way I look at it. It's semi-automation. And the host means the server's not doing the work for you. Okay. Perfect example. At my 9 to 5, I wanted to give a few people the ability to sit at their desk, look over at the other computers. They were having an issue with their printer because they're on Windows, and give that user the ability to go to a web page, click a button, and then have it go from that person's computer hitting the button up to the server, over to another server, and have a trusted connection back down to that other PC to reset the printer. Steve, it was so painful to do because Windows isn't built to do that.
Right.
You know, it literally took, thanks to Mark Rusenovich and PS Tools, PSEXE, and 2 other tools I had to use, it took about 15 to 20 lines of code to do.
Jeez.
And I had to do a bunch of hoop jumping because it was transmitting sensitive username password information in the clears. So I had to get back to that too.
Damn.
Okay. What this is, it's really a guideline, jumping off point, nothing in depth or specific, this webpage, of explaining to you how you can basically get the same kind of functionality. You can make Linux as a server assist you with automating tasks. And most of them, I'm going to say, are going to be semi-automation. Like, I come home on my phone, I click a button, and I have other things happen. My computers power up. The other computers power up. You can also connect it with a XL10 home automation system kind of thing.
Yeah.
Turn on the lights. You can make it so this server every day at X time will send you an email on the status of your network. Yeah. All kinds of stuff. And with Linux, it's almost expected to do these kind of small task things. It's like the very last article, a lot of things you need, you can have done in a single task.
Right.
And for instance, like with this automated server, you could have it automatically download podcasts and automatically kind of avert them. What if you have an old cell phone with not a lot of storage? You can take the files and automatically have them reduced in their bit rate, so they take up a much less file size, and you don't have to do it yourself.
Huh.
One of my biggest goals at my job was to take mundane tasks and not do them.
Exactly.
Period. Not do them at all. So I used a couple tools to help me in the process. So now when I get that same mundane task, I typically just open the file, hit my special hotkeys, launch this application, then just sit back and watch the screen go blah, 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 and do all the work for me. Same kind of thing you can do at home. Whatever is that mundane task,
right?
You can have then Linux do it instead of you doing it.
Totally.
That was a long way around to get there.
I'm all for efficiency like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those things. It might take you 40 minutes to automate something that really only takes 2 minutes. But just remember, you never have to do it again.
Right. Good point.
Yeah. This next one is 10 things I wish I knew when I became a Linux admin.
Huh.
So if you're just getting into Linux, I would say even less than 3 to 4 years into it, this is quite a good read. And most of this, I will say, you should take to heart. The web URL is tuts.pinhead.tv.
It's actually Pinehead. Pine. Looks like Looks like a porcupine head.
I've never seen this site before in my life.
Pinehead.tv. Fighting for smarter newbies is their tagline.
That's a good fight to fight.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I'm just looking here at some of their stuff. Doesn't look bad at all. Okay. Here's the real quick rundown of them. When in doubt, check your logs. You need to learn about logs. You need to learn where your logs are at and how to check them. Because when stuff goes wrong, you got to check the logs. Hand in hand with that are the commands tail and head. It's a real quick way of displaying only part of a file. Instead of saying display file and then having your screen roll for 5 minutes, you just can do tail and it will just show you the very end of it.
Uh-huh.
Server